الله أكبر.
Hi, welcome to the last part, AQ Iceberg Explained. Let's finish this already. We got
4 layers.
these are all pretty short, so they will fit into this video. And look, guys, I'll just say it again. I'll have to remind you, like and subscribe, and send this around. Send this to your grandma, send this to your best friends, send this to your weird Discord circle. Trust me, they'll be interested in some AQ Explained video. Trust me, guys. Even if they pretend not to be, you think your grandma doesn't want to hear about terrorism? Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. AQ Madkhali Alliance. This is not really anything that concrete. This is mostly about the fact that they generally are from the same strand of Islam, Salafism. Although Madkhalis don't have a rebellious attitude at all, they think all leaders are chosen by God, therefore you should follow your government and be loyal to them. AQ doesn't share that, though they share a general worldview, so some people assume that there's a genuine tie between them, at least ideologically speaking. Your citizenship is under my feet. So this isn't a reference to a known Al-Qaeda clip that was posted by Faris Al-Zahrani, who made a lot of audio recordings and such. Your citizenship's under my feet is a speech by him where he denounces his own Saudi citizenship because he transcends nationality, right? He thinks that there's an Islamic nation and that they'll share this. It's a pretty known clip. Saudis who joined ISIS quoted this clip when they burnt their Saudi passports. He's also known for making a lot of content generally, so he also has clips where he rationalizes killing police and military personnel using religion and different scholars and ideological thinkers and so on. Zawahiri killed Abdullah Azam. So we kind of mentioned this with Maktab Khidmat, they would collect money and so on, and that belonged to Abdullah Azam, who was fighting in Afghanistan at the time. A lot of people suspected Zawahiri killing him, and Azam's own son-in-law accused Egyptian Islamic Jihad of killing his father-in-law for issuing a fatwa that once the Russians were ejected from Afghanistan, it would not be permissible for us to take sides, which obviously would have bothered Zawahiri, who had this global jihad in mind. Worldofislam.net. Okay, I can't find this shit. Guys, I'm gonna be real. This is gone, okay? This website is just straight up gone. It's an old website they used to post Al-Qaeda propaganda, but it's like gone from the face of the internet now, so good luck finding anything on it. FSB agents. Yeah, so Al-Qaeda was present a lot in Russia during the whole Chechen conflict and so on. And yeah, one of the tactics the Russians concluded with doing in the end was infiltrating them like crazy, sending agents into their movements, screwing them over from within and so on. And this is actually how they ended the Caucasian Emirates insurgency in Russia itself. A lot of it was through the FSB's infiltrations and infiltrating all these insurgent groups, and they killed the leadership through this as well, the Caucasus Emirate. 6 easy steps to counter Al-Qaeda. Okay, this one is a pain in the ass to find. I don't know how to find it. Some on Reddit said that this is just an anti-Al-Qaeda publication list or whatever, or a series of it. But when I Google it myself, I see that it's an Al-Qaeda official who talked about this, though the video is gone, so I don't know if it's some former Al-Qaeda member shitting on them or if it's in the current sense them talking in third person. So I have zero fucking idea. You guys can try to figure this one out. It's kind of a mystery at this point. Pankisi George. Yes, this refers to the Pankisi Gorg crisis. Look, Pankisi Gorg is a region in Georgia that it had a spillover from the Chechen War, and the US and Russia both were very concerned about Al-Qaeda being present in this area. And turns out they're kind of right, because this whole area was filled with Arabs that came through the war. George Bush said that Al-Qaeda is operating in these areas, or operate close with those people. The US supported Georgia in doing operations in these areas to clean it up, and so they did, and there was like a huge crackdown that occurred. They captured a dozen Arab militants. There was a huge crackdown in Georgia, and their corpses were everywhere. Essentially, they found that there were 2 Algerians working with chemical and biological weapons there as well. And this isn't like too long ago. This quit around 2005, so it wasn't that long ago when they finished these operations in the Caucasus. Nonetheless, this wasn't even in the Middle East. This was like bordering Russia and stuff. And yeah, Russia was also pretty concerned about it, so they had their nose in this. AQ Hezbollah ties. Okay, so this one has no concrete evidence. The US and Israelis like to claim this a lot, that they're on the low level. United States intelligence officials would also speculate that there had been contact between Hezbollah and low-level Al-Qaeda members who fled Afghanistan to Lebanon. Ali Muhammad did testify that Hezbollah trained Al-Qaeda operatives on how to use explosives early on, and that they might be using money laundering together, smuggling, and document forgeries together. But then again, major Al-Qaeda leaders like Zarqawi consider Shia to be apostates. And an additional thing is the fact that Hezbollah fought against Al-Qaeda affiliates in Syria. So I wouldn't say that their ties are anything that real. 2000 Kuala Lumpur Summit. Okay, this is pretty dumb, but yeah, in the year 2000 in Kuala Lumpur, Al-Qaeda had its summit, which had a lot of high-level Al-Qaeda members meeting in Malaysia. And this is where the USS cold bombing and September 11th attacks were planned. The reason this is so dumb is the fact that the CIA and Malaysian authorities failed to identify people of the summit and arrest them before the attacks were carried out. They kind of let it happen. And they were all gathered in this big hotel room. Some businessman who owns the hotel also fought in Afghanistan. Before the meeting, the United States intercepted a telephone call to Yemen. Bin Laden had called that number dozens of times. And the CIA told Malaysian authorities to videotape the meetings. But here's the catch, guys. No sound recordings were made. And they could not identify any of them. So, yeah, this was pretty dumb. They just casually had a meeting in Malaysia. Nothing happened to them. And they did the attacks they planned to do. All of them. So, yeah, this is some blunder, to say the least. Failed Hosni Mubarak assassination. So we kind of mentioned this during the Sudan arc, but one of the reasons bin Laden had to leave Sudan was because of an assassination attempt on Hosni Mubarak, the president of Egypt at the time, and this was attributed to Egyptian Islamic Jihad. They failed, and Sudan was threatened, so they all got kicked out. Though there is an additional one, apparently, it claims that bin Laden planned to blow up Mubarak's plane, and that failed somehow in 1995. I've never heard of that. I couldn't find anything else on that, but apparently that's a thing. Assad funded AQ. Okay, so this comes from the early 2000s during the Iraq War when Al-Qaeda members, most of them went through Syria. And generally speaking, the US and Iraqi authorities accused Syria of aiding Al-Qaeda, and that a lot of these attacks that occurred even in Jordan and elsewhere, that they were not just going through Syrian territory, but also receiving stuff from networks within Syria. Saif al-Adl in Somalia. So yeah, Saif al-Adl is the current de facto leader of Al-Qaeda. He played an instrumental role in Somalia during the Battle of Mogadishu and so on. He established Al-Qaeda training facilities in Somalia. He trained a lot of these tribes on how to fight the Americans. Yeah, he's very involved in that whole process in Somalia in the 90s. And he did say that Somalia was suitable to be an Al-Qaeda base. So he set all of that up. He's also wanted by the Americans for a specific reason, not just training Al-Qaeda operatives, but also Somali tribesmen who fought against the US in Mogadishu. AQ soldiers on Twitter. Okay, this is not anything surprising. Real ones remember when terrorists were all over that fucking website. But yeah, there are Al-Qaeda soldiers casually on Twitter. There used to be ISIS on Twitter. I remember people used to ask them about anime, and they would be like, yeah, bro, we fuck with anime. So yeah, it's nothing that surprising. It's just mostly hidden by language barriers, and they don't always get suspended that easily. It takes a while. At Muraqabi. Yeah, so this is related to the AQ soldiers on Twitter thing. A top premier ideologue for Al-Qaeda, Abu Muhammad al-Maqdisi, was casually on Twitter until like a few months ago. Like he was just he was just casually on there. He was just ranting. He would beef with people. He would shit talk people. He would shit talk like other former AQ members for going astray. I mean, he's suspended now, so Twitter is actually dealing with that. It's not like before, but yeah, casually AQ on Twitter. That's another case of that. Al Jazeera collaboration. Taisir Aluni. Okay, so this refers to famous or infamous journalist, depends what you want to call him. Taisir Aluni, who was a journalist for Al Jazeera. He moved to Spain. and he's infamous for interviewing bin Laden after 9/11. So he was convicted of terrorism charges. He also was the correspondent in Afghanistan, and he covered the destruction of the Buddha statues by the Taliban. He was arrested in Spain during the Madrid train bombings. In the aftermath of that, he got sentenced for 7 years imprisonment for being supposedly a financial queer for Al-Qaeda. And people defended as for free speech. They said, no, he's just interviewed him. It's not that bad. He's not involved with them. But again, what makes this weird, it's not just that he used to do that. He also interviewed Al-Qaeda affiliates in 2013. So he just went out of the jail or whatever, and he started just doing that shit all over again. So, and they trust him enough to have that interview. That's what I would say. So perhaps he's not, what do you call it? Perhaps not the most legit journalist out there. I don't know. Just a little suspicious. I don't know. Al-Ansar. Okay, guys, I'm fucking tired of this shit. This could be a million fucking groups. I don't know which one it is. It could be the guys in Africa. It could be the Kurds. It could be more Africans. I don't know. All these groups use similar names, both in Yemen, in Libya, Egypt, Morocco, like everywhere. They use the same fucking name. So I don't know which one it is. Just AQ number 5000. Okay, just go with that. That's what Al-Ansar is. That's my assumption. Advice and Reform Committee. So, this sounds like a very wholesome Changis group. Nothing suspicious about it or whatever. Peaceful and constructive reform in Saudi Arabia doesn't sound too bad. That was their whole platform. But guess what? Al-Qaeda front, bro. Bin Laden worked with these guys to fucking, be chill. Get his ways in. But, yeah, that's straight up what that is. The guy who headed this was arrested. And, they got investigated for being an Al-Qaeda front. Abu Abdul Rahman al-Maghribi in Afghanistan, post 2021. Okay, so there's nothing confirmed. It's a lot of speculation, mostly due to the fact that he's married to Zawahiri's daughter, and his family lives in Afghanistan. And Zawahiri was killed in Afghanistan as well. The thing is, again, it's speculative. No one knows where he is, but it's kind of likely that he would live in the same country as his family. So people assume that he lives in Afghanistan. Even currently, like after the Taliban take over, they're casually in Afghanistan. And this guy is also supposed to be the leader after the present leader. Biography of distinguished martyrs. There's another thing I can't really find. This is probably on the weird sides of the internet, but it's supposed to be a piece about those who died for Al-Qaeda. And it's, written by Al-Qaeda. So, yeah, I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to find this. Whoever made this Iceberg... Bro, I don't have access to the deep web, bro. I can't go onto AQ forums and find this shit, dude. Message to those that left arms. This is another one. It's basically like, hey, yo, bitch ass, where'd you leave us, bro? We're gonna hunt you down. That's what I assume they're talking about. Or, or you're a pussy, bro. Why are you leaving the cause? Type content. Again, I can't really find any of this. This is not in my reach of the internet. Nor would I want to click on it, bro. The fuck, do you think I want to be on a list? Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, bro. Al-Qaeda triad ties. Okay, so I wouldn't say this is technically just about triads. It's mostly that, Al-Qaeda and generally a lot of these sorts of groups, they need narcotics to stay afloat. They need that sort of trade, that sort of market going on to make the money, make ends meet. And this makes them in league with a lot of other criminal groups, including the triads. And the triads apparently didn't really fuck up their opium trade or whatever. And I think they might even have connection with the fucking cartel at this point. Like, yeah, a lot of these drugs go everywhere, and the money goes through, and they'll have chill ties with some of them. So that's what that's mostly about. It's not exclusive to the triad in Hong Kong and China or whatever. Pakistan tipped off bin Laden. So these are a lot of rumors. Again, nothing is too confirmed, but one of them is that Pakistan, at least intentionally, through former intelligence agency people, told the US about the location of bin Laden. But again, this is kind of controversial because most of the things that are being said is that Pakistan had either had an awareness and concealed it, or they had no idea that he was present, which either way is a blunder. And the US went ahead with this without them. This kind of implies that Pakistan knew and they told the US, to kill him. Either way, it's a bit ridiculous, to say the least. Defunct jihadi forums. Yeah, there used to be a lot of forums for Al-Qaeda and also ISIS or whatever. All these jihadi groups, they had their own forums. And I've heard very absurd things, such as the fact that it was like MySpace with Al Qaeda sprinkled all over it, and it's all these like jihadis on there talking about their day or whatever, or their activities. Which, dude, that sounds fucking bizarre, but that sounds fucking funny. I can't lie. But yeah, all of these websites have been shut down by the U.S. and other international intelligence agencies, so you can't really find them anymore. Dark websites. Yeah, most of these terrorist groups, including Al Qaeda and a lot of others, they are active in the dark web. And it makes sense because, yeah, they need finance or whatever, so they use this not just to do propaganda or whatever and promote their stuff, but also fundraising and financial transactions, mostly through crypto or Bitcoin or whatever you want to call it. There are recruitments that go on through the dark web, and also like tutorials on how to make bombs and weapons or whatever, and also buying weapons. They probably do that through the dark web to some extent, but yeah, they're very active on the dark web. I don't know how they haven't been shut down. They might be shut down, just like the other forums, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Where is the EQ in Sudan now? So, if you guys remember the Sudan arc, it ended with bin Laden and his allies being all kicked out of Sudan. Though, here's the thing, Sudan right now has a civil war, a very big one, and Al-Qaeda was very excited for that. And they have, like a top Sudanese guy even talked about this, that they need to go into Sudan. It's in a perfect position now in the chaos. And this is not like something new. Bin Laden always talked about Sudan being a pivotal operation base. He really wants Sudan to be a center they have because of its position geographically speaking. And it's perfect for their expansionism. It bridges North and Sub-Saharan Africa. So that's the kind of the vision they have for Sudan. But we haven't really heard of anything from them right now. They do have operatives, I'm pretty sure, because they do have top members who are from Sudan. And they even have a military strategy set in place on how to do guerrilla warfare across Sudan. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with this, because it is a risk, to be fair. It is a genuine risk. Hamza bin Laden still alive. Okay, so in 14th of September 2019, Donald Trump confirmed that Hamza bin Laden had been killed in a US counterterrorism operation on the Afghan-Pakistan border region. Though, here is the catch. In 2024, so a bunch of years later, one of the resistance groups fighting the Taliban claimed that he was still alive and that he's present in Afghanistan, and he leads Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan along with his brother Abdullah bin Laden, and still preparing attacks and so on. Overlapping martyrdom claims. So yeah, apparently Al-Qaeda has a problem with reporting martyrdom sometimes. You know, when a member dies, that's probably the right term to use. And it's yeah, sometimes they say that they die, but it turns out they aren't dead. So if you want to know if someone's really dead, Al-Qaeda itself, the organization, kind of has to, you know, kind of confirm it, because the death of a leader is not never guaranteed. You have to wait and see for an actual announcement or whatever. Al-Ikhlas.net. So yeah, this is one of those websites that we kind of mentioned before. This has a lot of videos or whatever, a lot of audio. And it even had like, what do you call it? They had a fucking chat or whatever. They had an actual proper forum. And you could like do Q&As with Zawahiri, bro. Like there's some casual thing. And apparently this was kind of like a MySpace sort of social network. But again, this was shut down. This whole thing has been shut down. But this was a big thing back in the day, apparently. So just let that sink in, bro. There was MySpace for like suicide bombers. Let that sink in real quick. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious, isn't it? Black Hawk Down. Okay, so Black Hawk Down, this doesn't just refer to the movie that has that one fucking soundtrack used in every Filthy Frank video. That's like the funniest shit ever. But it refers to the actual battle that took place in Somalia. And yeah, people kind of understood later on that Al-Qaeda was involved in Somalia, and they even trained the Somali militia that actually shot Black Hawk Down. So essentially speaking, yeah, Al-Qaeda technically was involved in the whole plot of that movie without people realizing it. And, you know, they had training operatives. They had a lot of members present in Somalia, apparently. Not too many, because it was still a small group, but they trained others to do stuff, and they themselves were involved to a lower capacity. Nothing game-changing, but nonetheless, they were present. AQ ISIS split happened in 2006. Okay, yeah, so these aren't based on anything concrete. There were rumors that Al-Qaeda and And the Islamic State of Iraq, it wasn't yet ISIS, Syria wasn't added yet, had split in 2006 after the formation of the Mujahideen Shura Council in Iraq by Al-Qaeda in Iraq and other Islamist groups. And apparently this formation, this is an allegation, right? This is nothing confirmed, but apparently it was not approved by bin Laden. Therefore, this would have caused a split. That's the assumption. We don't know anything beyond that. Alright, layer 6. So we're approaching the end of this. Let's just finish this already. Al-Nusra wasn't the AQ branch in Syria, Abu Khalid al-Suri. So yeah, apparently one of AQ's closest affiliates technically didn't even create Al-Nusra, he created Ahrar al-Sham, which is a different group. Yeah, he participated in the Syrian war, and he was super involved, and he was killed off by ISIS. They say it was friendly fire or whatever, but he wasn't officially in Al-Nusra at all, and later on, when Nusra became HTS, Horas al-Din was formed. That is a more of a proper AQ affiliate in Syria. That should be noted. Abu Musab al-Suri's websites. Yeah, so he's a big AQ affiliate. He had a lot of websites, a lot of lectures, and so on, and he is the guy who made the management of savagery. That whole thing, that was his doing. And yeah, this guy had a lot of content. I'm pretty sure it's wiped out. It might be out there somewhere, but yeah, he had a lot of websites back in the day, dude. It's psychotic. He always is like in a sketchy room as well, pointing at shit, writing shit. And the fact that he doesn't look like a typical Arab, he's more ginger, very white looking, makes it like a million times more absurd. Zawahiri intentionally let HTS defect. Yeah, so this is a rumor, but it's that the leader of Al-Qaeda at the time allowed HTS get rid of the AQ affiliation, which I can kind of see that being the case, even though Rasul and them had beef, simply because almost every AQ affiliated guys kind of done that now, like the Taliban as well. They do the whole like, we're not affiliated, and then they get to be in the office, whatever, very chill. HTS currently runs Syria, so I feel like they would be okay with them not being full on AQ, publicly speaking. It's not implausible, to say the least. It's not implausible. Ukraine. Okay, this could be many things. I think it might be referring to the incident in Mali where Ukraine helped an Al-Qaeda linked group with attacking Russians and Mali's security. It could be that, and that was something that the Kiev Post like flexed or whatever, and then Ukraine started denying giving support or whatever. Or it could be the other thing, which is that a lot of Al-Qaeda members, especially the Chechen ones, pulled up to Ukraine to fight against the Russians there within the Chechen ranks and so on. Which isn't implausible, but I think it could be the Mali thing, more specifically. GeoNews/Rocket Chat. Okay, so GeoNews apparently is a Pakistani media company. Whatever, it's doing its own little thing. I guess it's about news or whatever. But apparently they got infiltrated by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is the Taliban in Pakistan, and apparently, yeah, they spread a fuck ton of propaganda on there, and this became a big controversy. I don't know, too more than that. A lot of stuff is hard to find. Though Rocket Chat is different because that's more like Chirpwire. So yeah, I guess they just had a chat on there. What do you call it? Encrypted, like chatting platforms for AQ members. I guess that's what that was. Like WhatsApp for AQ people, I guess. That's the best explanation you can have. Israel did Charlie Hebdo. Okay, so now we're reaching a bit more plausible. Is that the claim that Charlie Hebdo was getting paid by a Zionist lobby or something? That's also still absurd, but even if you go with that, this claim goes a bit further. It claims that, at least from what I'm hearing, it's that the guys who did do the shooting themselves were involved with Israel to make Islam look bad. Which, yeah, I doubt it, because these things happen too often. You make fun of the prophet of Muslims, then, Muslims will get mad, and some of them will kill, some of them will beat you, stuff like that. So I doubt it's Israel, to be fair. Why was Abu Sulaiman al-Utaybi kicked out? Okay, so this guy, he's kind of special because he's the first defector from the Islamic State in Iraq. And apparently there's a lot of reasons, no one knows much of the specifics. He didn't like the leadership and how they operated. He saw them as very corrupt. They wouldn't really protect the locals as they claimed they would. And he saw it as very dysfunctional.
and that it was very criminal and that they ran prostitution rings. And he told the EQ leadership about this, and they didn't take him seriously. They thought he was even an agent for what he was saying. Apparently, as well, at some point he was saying that Al-Qaeda had become, not Al-Qaeda, but ISIS, to be fair, because it wasn't that connected to Al-Qaeda at this point, that they were kind of schizophrenic in the sense that they were always talking about the apocalypse and the end times and the Mahdi and all these things. And yeah, he kind of freaked him out, I guess, on top of all the crisis in the ranks. So he just went to Afghanistan and just dipped out of their whole thing. And of course, he was killed by the US because he was still fighting in terrorist ranks, but not with the Islamic State. Mullah Omar wanted to give up bin Laden. Okay, this is not really a secret. The Taliban at first refused to give up bin Laden, but later on they kind of reached this position like, you know what, we might give him to a neutral or a Muslim country and you guys can put him on trial. They were very ready to just throw him under the bus, simply because, you know, he got him in big fucking trouble for no reason. And I'm pretty sure even Mullah Omar would have been annoyed by him at that point. Like, yeah, just get rid of him already and Afghanistan can be spared of that whole issue. Obviously, though, the US didn't accept that proposal in the end because they didn't do it early on, and the invasion of Afghanistan occurred. Yeah, clearly that didn't happen, didn't occur. It is permissible to fight under banner of infidelity. Apparently, this is some AQ propaganda thing that I don't know about. I've never heard of this. I can't find anything on this. Apparently, it's like a propaganda thing. It talks about how they're allowed to temporarily be under like bad countries or whatever, infidel countries. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. A lot of these things are borderline impossible to find on the surface internet, on Google or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know how to find any of these. Bin Laden equals Mahdi. Okay, dude, this is getting fucking like schizophrenic to the max. Okay, so for those who don't know, the Mahdi is a figure in Islamic eschatology. He's supposed to appear in the end of times to rid of the world of evil and injustice. He is supposed to be the descendant of Muhammad. So yeah, apparently the claim is that some people would say that bin Laden was like the Mahdi, like, or at least he was treated as one. But that dude, that's fucking crazy, dude. That's like you're treating some guy as like something from the end times, something prophetic, and he's just some like Saudi guy blowing up buildings, bro. Like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck went into people's brains during this time. AQ did 9/11 to collapse Taliban. This is another like schizo take, which is that Al-Qaeda intentionally did 9/11, not for anything else, but to just fuck over the Taliban, which makes me think, why would they want to do that? But then I kind of rationalized it in my head, because it's like, okay, maybe they want to take Afghanistan for themselves or whatever and make it their proper base. But yeah, there's nothing about this on the internet. You have to go by assumptions and rumors and stuff. This has no like concrete anything. But this is some like crazy fucking claim. You cannot like make the shit up. This is like a bit, yeah. I mean, you can't make this shit up. That's probably why I'm reading this right now. Now we're on the final layer. And don't worry, guys, I will add some extras in the end. So don't worry about it. Egyptians. Okay, guys, this is a bit of a fucking truth nuke right here. Al-Qaeda, despite being founded by a Saudi, technically speaking, was established by mostly Egyptians, led by mostly Egyptians. 2/3 of the fucking founders are Egyptians, and the whole group is inspired by Egyptian Islamists and is led by former Egyptian Islamic Jihad people. So fundamentally speaking, you can make the argument that this is a proper Egyptian terrorist organization that's just gotten out of hand. Plus, you know, the classic character Muhammad Atta was Egyptian as well, so you know, you should note that. Bin Laden being the only Saudi as well makes it absurdly funny. I can't explain why. Just as Stephen Paddock's forum accounts. Okay, so this is another crazy one. So you guys might not remember, but Stephen Paddock was the guy who did the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. And I remember this. It was like a crazy event, a massive shooting in Vegas by some guy, and the only picture of him we got was him with a girl drinking. But here's the crazy part. ISIS took responsibility for this, and no one understood why. And then apparently on forums, they said that he converted to Islam and became an IS lone wolf fighter, and you know, he went crazy for them, whatever. But his girlfriend said that he was an atheist and he suffered from alcoholism and he was just mentally not okay. And most people think that ISIS claimed it just to boost their relevance. But then again, it's not uncommon for ISIS to have some like crazy characters for no reason. They aren't like sane or whatever, or not sinning. So anything is possible. But Stephen Paddock as ISIS, that sounds a bit crazy. I don't know. That would have been psychotic, bro. AQ forum, Stephen Paddock. Someone should find his account, dude. You guys should leak all his shit. Leak what he did. Leak what his plans were, dude. Abu Musab al-Suri and the Algerians. Okay, so yeah, again, the funny white-looking guy. He was very close with Algerians. Apparently, he wrote for magazines for the longest time. But I think he's ended up getting into beef with the Islamist leadership in Algeria because he was having beef with the chief editor, and yeah, this got like out of hand. That the guy we had beef with was actually the Al-Qaeda's principal cleric in Europe. So their beef got out of hand, but nonetheless, his networking with Algerians was very massive. There isn't much info about it to look into, so this is all you can really find. Is like little Algerian magazine arc. Bubble Bobble. Okay, guys, so imagine this. You're a terrorist. You need to know how to fight. You need to train yourself. You need to prepare yourself for conflict. And, you know, sometimes people use video games. Now, what video game would you use? Would you use Call of Duty? Would you use Counter-Strike? Would you use Battlefield? Would you use any, like, FPS game of a war? Something that gives you a sense of realism, some sense of war? No, apparently, I cannot confirm this, but apparently AQ fighters used Bubble Bobble as their training. And Bubble Bobble is like a wholesome little fucking game. I don't know why the fuck you'd use Bubble Bobble of all fucking games on earth to train yourself in guerrilla warfare and pure terrorism and mass killing. That's like, how do you even rationalize that, dude? It makes more sense to play like a Lego game than fucking Bubble Bobble, dude. None of this makes sense, bro. Why are these groups like this? I cannot comprehend the fucking Bubble Bobble being a terrorist game, dude. Malcolm X. Okay, a lot of people might ask, what is the connection between Malcolm X and Al-Qaeda? He was born way before then. And you'd be right, because there isn't any direct thing. Though, I'll tell you what is a thing. Al-Qaeda kind of fuck with him. Yeah, the former leader of Al-Qaeda, he liked Malcolm X, and when Obama was elected, he called Obama a race traitor and hypocrite compared to Malcolm X. And he always likes Malcolm X. He calls him by his Arabic name. He calls him a symbol for honorable black Americans, and he attacks all these other black people in the US government as being race traitors and a lot of bad words. So yeah, it's not that surprising, but at the same time, it's a random ass connection. Most people want to know about this. This is a very kind of buried. Al-Qaeda is not a real organization. Okay, this one is spicy. I've kind of held a lot of these takes myself, and it's that Al-Qaeda is generally not real. It's kind of a CGI thing. And by that, I don't mean that it's quite literally not a real group or a CGI like Avatar, the blue Avatar movie. I don't mean that. It's mostly that Al-Qaeda has benefited other groups. It's been very convenient to exist for certain big powers, and a lot of these groups have done the opposite function of a supposed liberatory group. They fucked over a lot of these places, and Al-Qaeda has never really attacked Israel. For example, a lot of people bring this up. Al-Qaeda never attacked Israel. It's attacked everyone that's fought against Israel, and that's another point people make with this whole take. And Osama's background is him being a wealthy Saudi that got along with everyone, so him doing a total switch up with his money, you know, to just attack the West and whatever, and honestly just bringing the US to the Middle East, making them run things proper. It's it will pose that question whether or not Al-Qaeda is really or really about that sort of group. And this is a very common take I've heard my whole life. A lot of people will say this. It's not uncommon, so it makes sense that it's the final thing on the iceberg. It makes total sense. But guys, don't worry, your boy got y'all covered. I've added a few extra Heydarist exclusive into this iceberg, and you know, we'll just get right into them. It's the best way to finish this is by having a bunch of stuff that no one wants to talk about. The Goon Fatwa. So yeah, most people don't know about this, and I knew about this for many years. Bin Laden issued a thing, like a religious ruling, that said it is permissible to jack off in the most extreme circumstances. So just know that he out there has given a religious approval to busting a nut. And so if you guys ever feel bad about jacking off, know that he is he's given that approval. It's AQ approved to jack off in extreme cases. Now, speaking of gooning, another infamous case they have is the East Osting Goon Chamber. East Osting is a famous TikTok star, transgender Swedish woman, very famous in the Nordic countries, memed a lot, but there is a goon chamber named after her among the Al-Qaeda ranks, and yeah, it kind of is what you think. It is a goon chamber. A lot of things happen in those goon chambers. They have a similar function to the goon chambers in anime conventions and furry conventions. It's kind of a next step of that. It's the Al-Qaeda conventions goon chambers. And of course, these conventions don't really happen publicly, so they're mostly in caves. So the quality of the goon chambers, I will not get into. They're very all over the place. There might be photo evidence, there might not be. Just trust me, this is a real thing. I have reports and sources. They will confirm this. E-girls. Yeah, so most people don't know this. They won't see the side of Twitter, or X as it's called now. But there are a lot of not just AQ e-girls, but HTS e-girls, just e-girls for all these different groups. And some of them don't even wear hijab, and that's the funniest part. And they'll rap some like crazy mass killers. Like I've seen e-girls like chanting, demanding ethnic cleansing very casually. And no one talks about that, but yeah, e-girls are very evil, and they're very connected to all these terrorist groups. Some of them are hijabis, some of them are not. Some of them might be in a bikini calling for killing all non-Sunni Muslims. That's a real thing. I guarantee you, you can go look for it. You'll see all of it. It's all on Twitter, guys. It's probably on Reddit as well. It's probably on YouTube, just in Arabic, not in English or a common language that, you know, most of you guys speak. Bin Laden game collection. So yeah, most people don't know this, but Bin Laden was a gamer and he had a lot of games. But I'd like to specify something very specific. And it's not that he played Half-Life like me or CS like me, but he also played stuff like Mario 64, and more importantly, this is the most important part, erotic games. Bin Laden was out there playing goon games, and we don't know the titles, as the CIA refused to reveal the titles because of copyright content, but apparently had a bunch of porno games and videos. So I wonder what the fuck he was even like. What was he playing, bro? Was he playing like 18 plus visual novels? What was he playing, dude? Was he playing like hentai games? Like those flash games? Like what was he playing? And the world will never know. They won't ever tell us what goon games he had. What was the goon games preferred by these terrorist organizations? We will never know. Bin Laden's animated movies. So this in the same category. They found out he had a lot of movies, but he preferred animated ones. And look, you know, I get it. He killed a lot of people. He blew up a lot of people. But Matt, dude, his taste in movies is kind of fire, bro. He had Ants, bro. You guys know Ants, bro. That's a fire movie. Cars, bro. Shout out Lightning McQueen, bro. He's the GOAT, bro. He understood that. Chicken Little, also go to movie, bro. Like, I can't hate on that. Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. That's another banger, bro. Who doesn't like Sid, bro? Who doesn't like Manny, Diego, bro? The little squirrel, bro. Like, we fuck with the dinos as well, dude. Also, Final Fantasy, bro. Bin Laden was very, very obsessed with Final Fantasy, and I don't blame him, bro. Probably saw the chicks in that game, and he was like, "Yeah, this is worth. I'm playing this for a plot now, bro." Look, I know what he is, but I can't be a hater on this specific topics, man. He had taste in this. UFO in Afghanistan. This is another thing people don't know, but yeah, the aliens did invade Earth, and the AQ did shoot down the UFO, and they took parts. And they've essentially held this in secret in Afghanistan, building it up, setting all the tech right, because they want to use this for the Sudan arc. Now, I'll warn you guys, the UFO isn't really that OP. It's literally just a flying disc. So if they start using it, we don't know what will happen. Maybe it'll get shot down, maybe it'll explode the world. But there is a UFO. The aliens were executed by AQ. This happened. There was a massive scale of violence in Afghanistan that people don't talk about, but we will figure something out. We will see what will happen. If the UFOs come, just be ready to shoot them down, because there's some like Arab terrorist flying that thing, and he's gonna crash into you and your entire family. So you have to be ready about that. They could do 9/11 with UFOs this time. Y'all gotta be on the watch out. The anime epidemic. Yeah, guys, look, if you ever see that side of Twitter where Al-Qaeda members are present, you will notice a very common theme that occurs all the time. And it's that all of them, not all, but 60-70% of them are obsessed with anime. And by anime, I do mean the girly anime, the anime with the little girls doing girly things, doing weird noises, blushing and shit, all that. And they'll take that and mix it with terrorism and mass killing people while also doing the religious LARP. Which makes me also question like how any of it works, dude. Because it's like, how are you gonna want a woman to be a tent, but you'll also like want like a woman with her fucking titties out, but she looks like a child, so it's okay, I guess. I don't know. The anime AQ thing, we gotta figure it out. That shit needs to be researched in a lab. All intelligence agencies should look into it. Interpol should look into it. The UN should look into it. This is like cooked, bro. The infamous Lady Gaga video. Okay, real ones remember this from the early 2000s. Real ones remember the supposedly leaked Bin Laden video of him dancing to Poker Face by Lady Gaga. He's vibing, he's enjoying it. And look, again, I am not saying anything. I'm just saying that I understand that vibe. I like Lady Gaga, bro. I can't hate on that. Like, look, I get you killed a bunch of people, but yeah, I'd also dance to Lady Gaga. I can't be a judgmental guy about that. Biological weapon, codename Orange Camel. So this is another hidden info. Most people won't talk about this. This is something I personally have researched at my hours and time in. There is, in fact, a secret biological weapon called Orange Camel. It's a biological weapon in form of an animal they've experimented on, specifically a camel. It can literally split itself in two, and it will reveal itself to be an orange inside. It's very bizarre. Probably some demonic energy. I don't know how to pull that off. But that thing can kill, bro. That thing is dangerous. It has a radar sensor within the orange bulbs, and it can stare at you from like a mile away, and it will inform the EQ headquarters about your location. And we don't see these because these are like elite weapons. They're like worst case scenario. We don't know anything about this. This is actually like deeply disturbing. The nature of this creature is very unknown. I'll have a picture up on the screen. You guys will see it, but you can see it. It looks very disturbing. I hope the coalition, every country on earth knows how to deal with this threat. And my prayers is with all of you. Transracialism. Okay, guys. So by this, I don't mean that they're transsexuals or whatever. What I'm saying is within this sphere of terrorism, or you can even call it, there is a sense of whenever you join these groups or someone even affiliates with them, like he's not even a member, he's just a supporter, he thinks suddenly, especially if it's a white person or whatever, right? He thinks now he's racially transformed. So now he thinks he's racially Muslim, therefore he's Arab, right? Like he just morphed into another race. And you can basically say this is like Ariana Grande of terrorism. A lot of people do that. You can see this with like that one fat white guy that went with ISIS. He kind of had that energy. Like he started speaking as if he was like one of them, bro. Like, dude, you're really you're some guy from London. You're not some like guy from Mosul, bro. Like you gotta relax, okay? You gotta relax. And this is very common. You can find this everywhere. You can see Mexicans doing this. You can see like any nationality, Germans, Deutsch, French, like Swedish, Danish, American. This is a very common trend, and they will fight you if you say anything about this. But I find it pretty funny because it's like, why are you transforming your race, bro? You're not like this would be like me transforming into a black guy. But even that, I think even that would make way more sense than, I don't know, some white guy pretending to be an Arab in Mosul. That's like a bit, yeah. The real AQ anime. Yes, guys, I'm not making this up. There was a real plan in the works to make an Al-Qaeda anime. Well, not in the literal sense that it's a Japanese anime, but in jihadi forums back in the day, there was a cartoonist who made an anime style manga looking thing, like a comic thing, and this was supposed to be an actual cartoon to inspire people to join and do terrorism or whatever. But the fact that that existed or was planned is fucking crazy. And if you look at the pictures as well, they all have like red glowing eyes and shit. Look fucking terrifying. It's like DBZ if it was more genocidal. but we have no info about this. We don't know if it ever came out. We don't know if it got shut down. We don't know if the artist got blown up. But yeah, that was a real thing. So, yeah, AQ anime was real. Environmental Bin Laden. Okay, this is not a joke. Bin Laden himself did write a letter calling on the American people to help Obama fight against catastrophic climate change and save humanity. He wrote a thing like this. I'm not making this up. It was an undated, unsigned letter that Bin Laden wrote apparently. This was shortly after Obama began his first term. And he talks about climate change being very bad. And he calls on Americans to launch a revolution to liberate the US president from the influences that make him stay in wars, whatever, and to, save humanity from harmful gases that threaten its destiny. So Bin Laden, sometime before his death, starts rambling about environmentalism and climate change. And he said that the world fighting climate change would be better than fighting against Islam. And they would talk about it attempting to reduce the release of gases or whatever. Dude, this is kind of like a nuke or whatever, because it's like at some point when terrorists don't want to do it anymore, they start just moving towards environmentalism. It's honestly pretty bizarre, but it also kind of shows me that whenever these groups start affiliating with AQ and terrorism, when they switch up, I think like even Bin Laden was kind of doing that with this, because he became like a green politician out of nowhere, bro, like last second. And this shit is just bizarre, bro. Everyone should look into this, but yeah, dude, whenever you look at your local green politician talking about environmentalism, just know Bin Laden agrees with him. Let that sink in. Alright, guys, this concludes this Iceberg. It was a pain in the ass to make, but I hope you guys learned something along the way. Maybe we're entertained a bit. And, it was a journey to say the least. And, remember, like, subscribe, comment, boost this everywhere. Send this to your grandma, send this to your friends. If you don't, the environment is gonna fucking gas the shit out of you and you're gonna die horribly.
Yo, what's up, guys? Okay, look, we are fucked on Earth now. They've released the acetylene gas, and we are fucking dying. Okay, easier. Cancel fucking recolonizing Earth. We are fucked, bro. We didn't subscribe and like and share and commented on Heydarist video, bro. We are fucking die, bro. We are fucking bro. I'm dipping the fuck, bro.
Fredrik Stahlen! Walla! Mohammed! Jag fastnat! Dakhri! Keeping that gun on me, I can't get a touch.